I've helped collectors buy and sell millions in rare collectibles. The sale prices in this video are all backed by real data from top auction houses like Heritage. I know what makes coins and currency valuable, and today I'll break it down for you. In this video, we're going over some incredibly rare $100 bills. Now listen, I understand that $100 is a lot of money, but in this video, the $100 bills we go over are worth a lot more money than just $100. So starting off with this first bill, looking at the back of this 1996 $100 bill, what you see in the center there is Independence Hall, which symbolizes the founding of the United States and its values of freedom and democracy. Okay, but that's not why you're here. You want to know why this bill is worth so much money. Before we flip the bill over to the front, I want to say that during the printing process, the back of the bill is the first print. Now the second print is going to be the front of the bill. So everything you see here that is washed out looking is going to be the second print. And then the third and final print on this paper money bill is going to be that green seal and the serial numbers. So the second print of this banknote has an insufficient inking error, and that is why this $100 bill was turned into $870, $1,920 for this 2006 $100 bill. Now, one of the first things I noticed about this bill is a few things. First of all, you got a very hard fold going down the center of this bill. And then when you flip it over to the back on the top right-hand side, you're going to see some pretty apparent pinholes. Someone honestly really went to town with a pinhole and just damaged the heck out of this $100 bill, which really is unfortunate because the value will go down depending on the condition of your banknote. Specifically, if there's any relatively serious damage to your $100 bill, just like this one, it's going to impact the value negatively. So look, this $100 bill sold for $1,920, and here's why. I want you to look very, very closely at the serial numbers. The top left serial number says 390-27492. The bottom right one says 390-37492. So this is what we call a mismatched serial number because you can see that the fourth digit in the serial number is mismatched, okay? Look out for that because if you have a mismatched serial number, it's going to be rare and valuable. Now look, if you want to know how to sell your banknotes, just wait until a little bit later in the video. I'm going to explain everything you need to know. All right, here's a 2013 $100 bill that sold for $4,560. Now you're looking at the front of the bill, everything looks relatively normal. When you flip the bill over to the back, I do want to show you an area on the bottom right hand side. If you look closely, you will see a small little subscribe button. If you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, it would really help us out tremendously. But in all seriousness, that bottom right area that you see there is called a plate position. Specifically, this is called a back plate number. Now, depending on the type of bill you have, sometimes the back plate number and the front plate number simply do not correlate. What you typically need to look for is a back plate number where the size is different than the front plate number. So on this bill, when you flip it over to the front, you can see on the top left hand side, we have a front plate number. On this specific bill, you don't need to be looking for a mule note where the size of the numbers from the front and back are different, but in some instances, looking for those different sizes and looking for a mule note can really increase the value of the bill. Now before the front plate number, you're going to see a small little FW. Now that FW only comes on some bills. Why is that? Well, because paper money is only produced in two locations in the United States. If your banknote says FW on it, that means your banknote was produced at the Fort Worth, Texas facility. If there is no FW anywhere on your bill, that means your banknote was produced at the Washington, D.C. facility. What made this bill sell for $4,560 is mainly going to come down to the grade, which is a 66. Remember, 70 is the highest grade, and then also that serial number. So this is what we call an ascending ladder, where the serial number will go from small to high. So this one goes from 1 all the way to 8. You can see it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if you have a descending ladder, it is the reverse. So going from high to low. Ascending ladder serial numbers have gained a lot of popularity with collectors all around the world. So if you have an ascending ladder serial number, do not fold your bill. Keep it very safe, keep it very flat, because you have a bill that's worth a lot of money. This is so cool. So here's a banknote. Some of us that are a bit older are familiar with these early 1900s $100 bills. This one sold for $6,000, even though it's in really low condition. This one got a very fine 30. And as you can see, this banknote is from 1928. Now I'm going to educate you here really quickly on a few things here. So look on the left-hand side of the bill. You see that large number 1. That is called a district number. So typically, US paper money comes with a district letter. So the district letters can be from A all the way to L. This is what collectors call a numeral type. So instead of that being a large A, it is a 1. 1 signifies the first district, which is Boston. Another fun fact is that large 1 will will always correlate with the district numbers around the bill in 4 different locations, and that number 1 that you see there will correlate with the first letter in the serial number. For example, this is a 1, so the serial number starts with an A. If that number was a 2, then the serial number would start with a B, and the 4 district letters would also be a number 2. If the number was a 3, the serial number would start with a C, etc., all the way up till number 12, which is San Francisco, and the serial number would start with the letter L. Now, based upon which district your banknote was printed for can influence the value based upon supply and demand. This banknote has a few things going for it. 1, it's a numeral type, which is only from 1928. 2, it is a low serial number, so you have a 302 serial number, which is really cool, and it's a star note. So very quickly, I'll explain what a star note is. Essentially, during the printing process, the US produces star notes or replacement notes because they realize during the printing process there are going to be some mistakes. With those printing error mistakes, what they do is they scrap those sheets of paper money, because paper money is produced in large subject sheets and not individually, and they scrap the sheets and replace them with a star note. That's why they call them replacement notes. Star notes are typically shorter print runs. They are smaller supplies. That's why there's more demand for them, and people just think it's cool to see a star on their bill. Now, most modern bill star notes are not that rare and valuable, but don't get me wrong, whenever I find a star note, I hold onto it and make sure that it is not a really rare one, because some of them can be worth a lot of money. This 1928 $100 bill, numeral type, from the Boston district, graded by PMG at a very fine 30, sold for $6,000. Holy smokes, $15,600 for this 2013 $100 bill with a serial number 1 on it. So this bill has no folds on it, not a single fold going down the center. Also, if you have a fold that goes right into the corner of your bill, but it just barely hits the design, as soon as it hits the design, you're going to drop in grade significantly. I'm telling you this right now. If this bill would have got a 67, it would have sold for at least $20,000 or more. Every single grade matters. So you're asking yourself, how do I get a higher grade? Well, there's 2 things I'll tell you here. 1, there cannot be a single fold, and 2, the centering of the bill needs to be really good. As you can see, the margins are relatively centered on this bill. Now look, I made a completely free coin and currency guide that you can get down below. It goes over coin and currency grading a bit more in depth. It's a great place to start, so get your free coin and currency ebook down below. But again, this is a serial number 1. It's a high grade of a 66. That is why it's sold on Heritage Auctions for $15,600. Holy smokes, $19,200. So very similar to that PMG 30 I showed you earlier that was from the Boston district. This is a Chicago district, as you can see the number 7 on the left hand side, which is starting with a G. This is a very rare note, especially in this high of a grade. You can see it got the PMG 66 EPQ. EPQ just means exceptional paper quality. That means there's not a single pinhole, tear, stain, none of that happening on this bill. Very beautiful note, and that is why it sold for $19,200. Listen, if you want to sell your paper money, what we recommend is finding a currency expert. To be honest with you, some of the coin experts out there are not that well versed in paper money. So find at least a few currency experts that know what they're talking about and that will help you maximize the value of your collection. Now, I have absolutely nothing to sell you, but I do want to educate you on coins and paper money. So if you have not done so already, please get your free coin and currency ebook down below. It is so important that you know what your paper money and coins are worth in today's day. Please do not take your paper money to any sort of pawn shop, because you will get ripped off. Do not let that happen, guys. Get your free coin and currency ebook down below, and we will see you guys in the next video.